There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
You're flying over the Atlantic Ocean in your puddle jumper. The skies are clear and sunny. Out of nowhere, it appears a thunderstorm is whipping up in front of you. But this is no stranger to these weird weather phenomena. As you fly through, you look at your altimeter. It's still a normal reading. The last thing you see is the ocean coming towards your windshield as you crash and disappear into the triangle. Welcome back to the season finale. I am the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I am the infamous Jay.
And this is all about the Devil's Triangle, Part 3, baby.
The Devils?
The Devil's Triangle. What else would you call it?
Bermuda.
Bahamas, come on, pretty mama.
Well, that's a long for a triangle name. Just Bermuda is what I call it.
I can't, every time you say it, it's like I want to start singing it.
It's just habit. The Beach Boys pre-programmed us.
Yeah. The Beach Boys have some nefarious roots anyways.
What, Mr. Manson?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, Mr. Manson followed the Beach Boys, not the other way around.
Oh.
So what did the Beach Boys know? No, so we're going to start in with planes messing around. So once again, if you guys remember from part 1 and part 2, we talked about like a lot of these encounters we may cover several times during this because they kind of fit into different pieces of this mystery.
Right.
So we'll talk about them all in like these little different segments.
No stone unturned. No piece of coral is unturned in this episode.
So I have another list of specifically flights that have messed up or gone missing in the Bermuda Triangle. Then I have 2 stories with actual written out encounters in the triangle itself.
Okay.
So do you have anything to say before we get rock and rolling into this?
No, I'm ready for it.
We have some big news, though. Shouldn't you tell them?
No, big news. You kind of... What? There's always big news. What?
500?
Oh, yeah. As we're listening... Well...
Recording.
Sorry. As you're listening, we're announcing now that we just crossed the 500,000 downloads benchmark or milestone. So yeah, you got a little like button.
Well, let me see.
I'll just do it.
Yeah, do it again.
Thank
Thank you. Calm down. Let's calm down.
Come on, out of the studio now.
Yeah,
Come on,
get out of here.
Guys, get out of it. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, good.
No, it's amazing. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome.
500,000 times people have listened to our show.
And here we are in the season 3 finale. Part
3. Part 3.
Gosh.
Okay. You ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I'm hopping around with all these dates and stuff like that. The triangle literally has so much stuff. It's hard for me to keep straight. Literally, it took like 3 weeks to do this script. So like some of the stuff I've forgotten that I even put in here.
Well, good. So it's going to be a fun trip for both of us.
It's a mystery to me, too. Don't worry. We're going to start on January 30th, 1948. The Star Tiger left St. Maria, Oriza, with 25 passengers on board. It was meant to arrive in Bermuda at 5 a.m., but at some point just before its arrival, the radio operator lost contact with the pilot. Hours later, the plane had disappeared completely out of sight. A fleet of 26 aircraft were sent out to search for the Star Tiger, but it was never found. So this is the one that they were actively talking to air traffic control.
And then it just ceased.
Everything stopped.
Okay.
They weren't reporting any problems, any mystery. They weren't saying, hey, we're having some engine trouble, and then they disappeared.
Right.
It was just like, yep, coming home in time.
Or yeah, it'd be like, the pilots, how they have the pilot voice. We're coming into a smooth altitude, no turbulence.
Is that a tentacle?
Sunshine shining on our left, and then a giant tentacle on the...
And then it cuts
it.
out. What if I told you that wasn't even the only disappearance that year?
I wouldn't be shocked. At this point.
Yeah, I know. It's a triangle. During the same year of the Star Tiger's mysterious disappearance, Douglas Dakota's DC-3 flight took off from Puerto Rico, heading to Miami, Florida. 20 minutes before landing, the flight disappeared from radar and was never heard from again.
Oh, wait, how many minutes before landing?
25.
Oh, so they were right there.
They were right there. No, sorry, 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Even closer.
Yeah. 2 more cases very similar to this have occurred since.
Okay.
Heading into Miami.
Wow.
Like, just randomly, like, they'll be getting, like, talking about landing, preparations and stuff like that, and then just disappear.
He already gave the announcement to buckle back up your seatbelts.
Yeah, that's so their corpses could be attached to the plane at the bottom of the ocean.
Dang. Landing gear was already down.
Yeah. Oh, I hope not. 25 minutes out.
You never know.
But no, so that's another just weird, like, they're talking to them. They're actively talking to them.
And then,
yeah, no reports of, like, because a lot of these, like, some of them, like, we'll get to in a minute, are talking to a radio tower and having weird phenomena happen. Whatever's happening to these planes is very sudden.
Right, like a lightning strike.
Even more sudden, because planes get hit by lightning all the time.
Well, yeah, but nothing's really more sudden than a lightning strike.
Well, because, no, when planes get hit by lightning, they fall for a while.
Yeah, but in this area, they get hit by lightning and they transport to another dimension.
Did I ever tell you my lightning story with the ocean?
I don't think so.
So, once again, I was a fishery biologist. I did electrofish surveys. So, like, you can't shock salt water because it's too conductive.
Okay.
It carries the current too well, so it spreads out. Me and Dad are facing the ocean, and we're like, it's like kind of stormy, but not really. Like, kind of rainy, but no thunder or nothing like that. And we're fishing, and we're like, it's weird. I've never seen lightning hit saltwater because Florida has tons and tons and tons of thunderstorms.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, we've seen them hit all the other water, never seen them hit pure saltwater. And me and Dad are talking like, man, it's super conductive. Like, it should, it probably should hit it kind of often.
Yeah.
And like 2 minutes after that, this giant bolt, like maybe 300-400 yards out, slams the water. We go deaf for a second. And it was crazy because it had black smoke coming out of the ocean.
Oh, wow.
And we looked it up. It was from all the salt that burned.
Wow. Huh.
So, yeah.
So it can hit the ocean.
Ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer.
I guess so.
Lightning does hit the ocean. No, sorry. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
October 30th, 1954. Flight 441 took off with 42 passengers, making their way to Lagias on the Orzo Islands. The plane was about 400 miles off the coast. When contact with the plane was lost, Flight 441 never arrived in its destination and then disappeared without a trace. So this is another one where they're talking, and they disappear off radar. It's really weird that it's like, some people think it's like crashing in the ocean.
Yeah.
But it's even kind of stranger. It's like they literally disappear from reality for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes these planes are found, sometimes they're not. I don't think any of this list are found. But, they do find wreckages. Like we talked about in part 1. Like they literally found like a debris field of the plane before.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's like it did explode or something.
Or like time skips or like little like parallel shifts, and then like goes from being 2,900 feet in the air to being 12 feet under the ocean.
Yeah.
Going the same speed.
Yeah.
So just vaporize like a bullet hitting the water.
So they did find some wreckages?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
not
They
with
found
these,
some of these.
but
Not
with these
these
two.
ones.
Okay. That's weird how this one's almost like 411, but it's 441, but eerily close. Yeah, synchronicities.
Next one on my list.
Okay.
December 5th, 1945. 5 ill-fated Avenger bomber planes disappeared without a trace. We've talked about this one. While on a training mission, frequent communications had taken place between the trainees and their flight leader, Charles Taylor, during this mission. To make the situation even weirder, the 5 rescue planes sent after them also disappeared.
Oh,
so we talked about that at part 1.
Yes, that's right.
That it's all these military planes disappeared in a training mission. Bombers disappeared. And then the 5 planes they sent out to find him disappeared.
Yeah, not good.
So that's what we talked about. They said like Charles was like having problems with his wife and was depressed and led them all into the ocean.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain the search
rescue
party.
team, yeah. Unless he somehow commanded them too.
or a giant living island rose up and ate him.
Ooh, tsunami wave.
While flying over the Bermuda Triangle in 1970, American pilot Bruce Gernon experienced something that he quite couldn't logically explain. He flew through the mysterious donut-shaped hole in the swirling clouds.
Wow.
We'll talk more about Bruce here in a minute.
Okay, so obviously he lived, I guess, right?
Maybe. Don't worry. We'll talk more about Bruce here in a minute.
Okay.
Just put a pin in that.
Bruce, donut hole. Got it.
Carrie Gordon was flying home after spending some time with her daughter in Florida as she experienced something very strange. While flying over the open ocean at night, she suddenly flew through a thick bed of fog, which left her flying in pitch darkness. She claimed not to be able to navigate herself, and her plane instruments went haywire. And luckily, she flew through. She flew through and was fine after.
Okay.
She hit this patch of clouds or fog, and all of her instruments went haywire. She couldn't tell where she was. She couldn't really fly her own plane, and after she got out of it, she was fine.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's odd.
Is it? Hold on to that.
Okay, I got a couple thoughts about that. Or should we go in that now, or just...
No, but believe me, I have a whole section about the mysterious fog.
Let me start making my list, because there's already 2 things now.
11 minutes into this, and we're making notes.
Okay, ready.
You got your fog?
Yeah.
Okay. On March 12th, 2009, passengers aboard a flight spotted strange lights in the sky over the vortex in the sea.
A vortex?
Yeah, so like a
whirlpool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The unexplained sighting was even photographed by naval cameras who had claimed the object floating above the water was there for hours before disappearing.
Okay.
I couldn't find this photo, so I'm not putting it in the show notes because I can't find it. But it is said to exist.
Okay. Yeah, where's it hiding, though? In the back of the Smithsonian?
If any of our amazing listeners can find this photo, I'll send it to me and I'll pin it on the Facebook page and Instagram page and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah. So our at-home investigators.
Yeah, because some of them are a lot better than me. On November 3rd, 1978, Arvins River Eastern Caribbean Airway plane disappeared from radar just moments after controllers at the airport in St. Thomas cleared them for landing. The plane was less than 2 miles from the airport when it disappeared.
That's even closer than 20 minutes.
2 miles. It was actively landing when it disappeared.
That is...
Nothing was found. It was like they literally just talked to him. Yeah, you can land. All right, we're going to start landing. As it was landing, it disappeared from radar.
So they never landed.
It was either over the land or the water it was over was extremely shallow.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
When it was going down when it disappeared?
Yeah.
It didn't disappear over deep water.
Okay.
It was either over land
or shallow water.
Shallow water.
Yeah, like beach water.
So they would have found it.
Right, yeah, they should have.
Just disappeared.
It was taken.
There's several theories going around already. You know, we're only 2 hours, a little over 2 hours into this,
saga.
And these portal kind of things seem to be a real big factor to where it almost seems like there's like bubbles that these things are hitting, and when they hit them, they disappear.
Just gone, yeah. Sucked into a black hole.
And then, okay. Hey, I already covered that one. Why is that one on here twice? No reason. Just talk for a second.
Oh, yeah, just talk. I mean, we got quite a few different accounts happening so far.
Sorry, I put the same one on the list twice.
Yeah?
Okay. Now, let's get back to Bruce's encounter.
Okay, yes, that's where I have my notes started.
So I have his full written out encounter.
Okay, here we go.
So that's why we saved it.
Okay.
It's on all these lists.
So this is Bruce Gernon. I think that's what you said, the guy that flew through the donut-shaped hole. On
the Andros Islands, Bahamas, to the coast of Florida.
Okay.
He was in a Beechcraft Burzana was the type of plane.
Okay.
Bruce had flown through the Bermuda Triangle many times and has done this flight over a dozen times, and he had never experienced anything mysterious. That was until December 4th, 1970. The normal time for his flight from the Bahamas to the coast of Florida would have taken 1 hour, 1.5 hours, approximately. Bruce took off, and as soon as he reached 1,000 feet, he saw a small black cloud, which kept growing bigger.
Okay. I looked up the plane. Do you just mean Bonanza? Beach?
Yes, Bonanza. Sorry.
Okay, Beechcraft Bonanza. I looked it up. It's just a small little like
puddle jumper.
Yeah, what you'd expect for a little.
There are a lot of them in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So once he hit 1,000 feet, he saw this small black cloud that kept growing in size.
Okay. Odd. Shouldn't happen.
And remember what we've talked about with other weird phenomena with the color black and what that means for our brains.
Just indistinguishable, or you just can't your mind can't put it into our reality, so it paints it this thing.
Maybe we're seeing a fourth dimensional door open.
Could be, yeah.
Bruce is an experienced pilot who flew through the clouds and came out from the other side. But then he was about 11,500 feet.
What?
He went from 1,000 feet.
Oh, when he came out, he was 11,000.
11,500 feet above the surface of the water.
That's what is all. Now, was he in the same area or what?
He saw another mysterious black cloud, but this one was massive.
Okay.
So he went to this little cloud and then jumped up over 10,000 feet.
And then saw another cloud.
There was no way to get around this one. He got out of the first, or there was no way around it. As he got out of the first one, he took a deep breath and went into the second cloud. It wasn't raining inside the cloud, so Bruce started getting worried, after which Bruce started seeing flashes of white light, almost like lightning, but it wasn't quite lightning. They were so bright that they would light up the entire cloud.
Wow, okay.
Bruce kept flying for about 30 minutes. He had lost all radio contact. Now the cloud was cylindrical, and the plane was flying through at the center of it. It was at least a mile wide.
Wow.
So he's in this almost like the eye of a hurricane, but except vertical or horizontal instead of vertical.
Right, yeah.
And it's like a mile around his plane. Like the cloud is reacting to his plane.
Right, exactly. Or he's just a really good pilot and hit it right dead center.
Sure.
Hit this cloud tube.
About a minute later, he saw a light at the end of the tunnel. But as we know, you probably shouldn't go towards that. He kept up his hope and flew straight ahead, determined to get out. But all of a sudden, a baffling thing started to happen. The walls started becoming narrower and narrower, as if they were closing in on his plane. All navigational and electronical instruments started malfunctioning, as if the plane was in control of something or someone else. And it was acting like it was in some kind of current, like that in the ocean.
Okay.
About 20 seconds later, Bruce busted out of the cloud, and radio turned on asking him to determine his location. He felt weightless for 5 seconds. The dispatcher couldn't see his plane on radar. After some time, they could and told Bruce that he was already above Miami.
Oh, okay.
So before we continue, let's just recap, because the story gets weirder.
Okay. So
he goes in this little cloud, this little black cloud that forms. It gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, he's flying very close. Well, he's about to land.
He's at 1,000.
Yeah.
No, he just took off.
Oh, he's on his way out?
He's on his way to Miami.
Right.
So he just took off to get to Miami from the islands.
I was thinking he was already about to land there. Okay,
No,
gotcha.
just took off.
Okay.
That becomes very important here in a minute.
Okay.
Just took off. Little black cloud at 1,000 feet, because he's only 1,000 feet in the air. He's still climbing.
Yeah, not far.
And he goes in this little black cloud, and he jumps up to 11,500 feet.
Yeah, pretty
Then
high.
He immediately hits this other giant black cloud. As he's going through it, this cloud forms like a cylindrical tunnel around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees these giant... I know he has trouble explaining it, because these giant like lightning strikes around him that aren't lightning.
Right. The thing I imagine is, you ever like static charge when it just goes off? It's not like
Something like
lightning,
that.
but it's just bright.
So as he's flying through, he has no radio contact. His instruments are going insane. Like he has no idea where he's at, how high he is, or anything like that.
Okay.
And he can't talk to anybody. The second he sees the exit, it's almost like the cloud doesn't want him to get out.
Right.
So it starts like trying to close around him, Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, exactly.
He busts out. The second he busts out, radio contact's restored. Dispatch cannot see him on radar for an extended period of time. They're like, we can't find you. We can't find you. We don't know where you're at.
They might not have known where to look because he wasn't in the spot where they anticipated him to be.
No, they would have found him on radar. Like he had his signal.
Oh, okay.
Like it would have been anywhere. Any
I don't know how
dot,
that stuff works.
Basically, imagine a dot of a plane that, like, they would know. Right, air traffic would know the second a dot that's not supposed to be there shows up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They would know very quickly.
Right.
And then he appears dead top over Miami.
Which is very odd.
Let's talk about why it gets more odd. Bruce was astonished. He didn't believe them when he came out of the clouds. Then he saw they were over top of Miami. It had only been 47 minutes. His plane could not go any faster than 180 miles per hour. So it would have been physically impossible for his plane to travel this distance in 47 minutes. Bruce was shocked. So when he landed safely, they started the investigation. The fuel too hadn't been used to its full potential. Bruce later confided in many of the professors and scientists, but none of them could give him answers to what he wanted. Bruce later went on to write a book called A Fog, a never published theory about the Bermuda Triangle. But on that day, the flight 84 but on that day of the flight, 84 sunspots were spotted, and on a solar wind of 440 miles per hour, could have had a disturbance in Bruce's plane, but that doesn't explain why it didn't affect other planes on the planet.
I don't understand what the sunspots and solar wind has to do with anything.
So the sunspots can affect electronic equipment.
What exactly are sunspots then?
So it's like a spot, like the sun releases a big electromagnetic charge and a big energy, like radiation and all that kind of stuff. It's like kind of like a burp.
Okay.
So the burps can be really small or really big, and they affect areas on the planet. Like they've affected all kinds of electronics. So he's saying that this day, though, there was an unusual amount of them.
Okay.
And that's what some people said was affecting his plane. But it didn't make sense to him because he's like, why wasn't it affecting all the other planes in the area?
Right. It's just this one.
Believe it or not, the Bermuda Triangle is a very traveled place for everybody at home. As we talked about, it's in the middle of all these travel destinations.
Which is shocking that... Well, I guess that's why there's so many accounts, too.
So Bruce believes it was because of an electric fog he was in. Others believe it was dark magic, and the same dark magic that caused the expansion of the universe.
Ooh.
Dark energy. But dark energy is the theory attempting to explain the unexplainable. Bruce's story is one of the strangest and most baffling stories ever, but just imagine the story of people who disappeared, the people that disappear have. Before I continue, so just so Bruce, I think, so he did this flight in 47 minutes.
Yep.
Did it say how many miles he was going? Let me find out. No, it doesn't, but I believe he was going like 400 miles, 500 miles, and he did it in 47 minutes.
Pretty fast.
So it was like 3 or 4 times faster than it could have been. But his fuel also agreed with that he was only been flying 47 minutes.
Right, yeah.
So it's almost like he went in a portal, and whatever this thing is, normally if a plane goes in it, I imagine it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
He was one of the lucky ones that got spit out still, but it was affecting reality around him.
What, like as far as?
Because he went 4 times farther than he was supposed to. With that fuel.
Right.
As in, like, let's say he popped in the 4th dimension for a second as this thing was trying to eat him.
Gotcha,
and he got out. When he got out, though, he's over top of his destination.
That's the weirdest part. He actually ended up where he was supposed to be going.
Well, yeah. Like, it followed the same trajectory. It's
weird.
If we're talking 4th dimensional science, it's might as well be magic.
Yeah, it pretty much was, or is.
Mm-hmm. Now, like we've already talked about Flight 19, but we can do it again. There have been many disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, like Flight 19, when the 5 planes went missing.
Yeah.
And then, the people that went after them went missing.
Right.
Till the day, though, their arrangement of the incident happened. In 1948, a passenger jet disappeared at a flight heading to Miami from Puerto Rico. While 29 passengers and 3 crew members on board, the strangest part is the weather was clear throughout.
So someone just disappeared off the plane?
No, the plane disappeared with all these people.
Oh, I thought you said a passenger.
A passenger plane.
Passenger plane. Gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay.
Passenger jet, sorry.
Gotcha, okay.
Experts believe that after 15 miles off the coast of Miami, it could have been hit by very strong winds that threw it off course. Years later, divers found a similar flight but couldn't confirm it due to the lack of details in registration. In 1948, again, a plane went missing with 25 passengers and 6 crew members. All these disappearances remain a mystery till this day. We might never know the reason and why they're disappearances. But we do have some theories. So this is this little article's theory. But we do have some theories. 2,000 ships, 200 aircraft might have gone missing. We may never know what actually caused it, but we'll talk about the theories later. I saved them for the end.
Okay.
I pulled theories from everywhere. There's tons.
And then we'll give them our own.
So
which are the correct
what do you think
ones.
about this one? This whole story, this Bruce's story.
Oh.
It's probably one of the more famous ones, and it's because he lived.
Yeah,
And why
that's
it's
the thing.
famous is that the air traffic control confirmed it. The investigators at the airport confirmed it. So there is records of him leaving Puerto Rico, and there's records of him arriving in Miami.
Right.
The times, the fuel, like he was only gone for 47 minutes, so he couldn't have stopped and refueled.
Right, yeah. I mean, things just don't, they add up. The story adds up.
Yeah, it's one of the more credible ones because of all the documentation that goes along with it.
Right.
All these professionals are like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. It's unexplainable. The only thing that makes sense is if he somehow jumped through space and time.
Or a giant tentacle threw him forward and he imagined the whole thing.
It could be that. I mean, there's that too. Or what if was some weather phenomenon? He got stuck in an atmospheric, jet stream that formed this cloud tunnel that shot him through like a cannonball.
Now, that could be something, that literally these extremely weird weather phenomenon that his plane just kind of got picked up like a sideways tornado.
Yeah.
And shot out.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know if a plane could handle that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, I would.
Because he would have been going.
Probably rip
he
the
had been
plane
going
apart.
About 500 miles an hour.
Unless like all the space air in the tunnel, everything just kind of moved as one. So like
it'd have to be like a vacuum.
Yeah.
At that point, which
Yeah.
would be, I
Makes
think,
sense.
crazier. They'd basically be in a hydrogen bomb going off over top of Miami. I think people would have noticed.
That's what all those lights were.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the lights.
Yeah, lights is weird.
And he tried to describe it. I know it's very hard. I've watched his interviews. You can watch interviews with him on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know if he's still alive, but there are some old recording interviews with him. That it's hard to explain, and I get it. It's like me trying to explain the shadow person encounter.
Yeah.
That it's something that not every person can see, and it's the only time he's ever seen it, and it's. Like, I guess he's like, he's like, it was kind of like lightning, but it wasn't.
Right.
And they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's hard to explain something that doesn't really have
Another, like a corresponding effect.
Right.
A recreatable effect. You'd be like, it looks like this.
something that we're used to in our reality.
But it would streak like lightning
Yeah.
and glow. But it's glow like as bright as the sun.
Yeah. Like
Almost like meteors.
You ever had like all the lights completely off and you're under a blanket and you move your hands through it and you see the static electricity in the dark, like flash? Oh, okay. That's kind of what I'm picturing. I don't know why. Like you just pull a blanket over your head and the complete dark and you can see the static come off.
See, I think it was moving slower than electricity, though. It's a weird thing. It was like living light.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't say that. That's me.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like almost like living light moving around him.
Okay.
Because it was slow. Like when I had the meteorite thing that happened. Like that. Like it was a long, slow process, but it was so bright. But it wasn't like making a lot of noise. It wasn't scary.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's just it's an odd experience. That's the amazing part is that he came through the other side and lived to tell the tale.
I really think that that's what happens to a lot of these planes. Is that stuff.
They don't make it?
They get eaten by whatever this phenomena is. And I don't mean eaten as in a living entity eating something. I mean as in like they get destroyed or taken or whatever by whatever phenomena is happening.
They end up in that tunnel or whatever it is and whatever. They might not come out the other side.
And then there's this whole electronic fog.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that extensively later.
It sounds organic, maybe.
I don't know. I think it's a part of, so even ships have experienced it. So the Bermuda Triangle is famous for this black-green fog.
So like ships on the water are experiencing the same thing? Okay.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sounds like ghost ship stuff.
So I have one more of these big cases for the planes.
Okay.
And this is the case of Helen Casco.
Costco?
It's not Costco.
Okay.
It's not related. Paul, it's not your relative. It's spelled Cascio.
Okay. Cascio.
Casco?
Cascio.
Whatever.
I don't know.
You don't come here. That scared me.
Okay. The dog just barked
The
outside.
dog barked, but it's my dog barking.
Yeah, I think
inside.
Okay.
It just scared me. Sorry. The unnerving incident of Helen Casco. Perhaps one of the strangest incidents is that of Helen. In her Cessna 172, she set off for the Tusk Islands in the Bahamas one afternoon. Expecting her arrival, The control tower over Tusk Island was a little surprised to see her plane arriving on time, but not land. Instead, it continued to circle directly overhead. The control tower would attempt to communicate with her, but it seems that Helen couldn't hear them. They could, however, hear her. So before I move on and read this, she arrived on time.
Right.
Over the Tusk. And she's flying in circles over the airport.
Right.
The airports are like, what the hell's happening? And they're trying to radio her, and they cannot get a hold of her. Like, as far as they know, she can't hear them.
Right. But
they can hear her.
Right.
Do you want me to tell you what she said?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Do you really want me to tell you, or do you want to skip over it?
Just skip over it.
Okay. Over the radio, her voice stated, I must have made a wrong turn. That should be the Tusk, but there's nothing down there. No airport, no houses. The control tower would send her several signals to her plane, as well as direct communication over the radio. All were ignored, and more likely never received by Helen. After a short while longer, the woman's desperate voice asked, is there no way out of this? So the island can see her. She's over top of the airport. The airport is actually shining like these big lights at her plane.
Yeah.
These signal lights. They're radioing to her. They can hear her.
And nothing.
And she's freaking out saying, the Tusk should be right here. The Tusk should be right here. There's no house. There's no plane. There's no airport. Where am I? Like, there's no way out of this. I must have made a wrong turn. And then the very last thing, is there no way out of this?
Yeah, that's scary.
So those from the ground watch the Cessna fly over a thick patch of clouds. Bum, bum, bum. And that was the last anyone saw her plane.
Oh,
there were no
wow.
reports of a crash in the area, and several revealed nothing to the incident otherwise. And in this truly bizarre incident, it's apparent that there was two dimensions were being temporarily merged. Although the looking glass was apparently one way, that Helen appeared to see the landscape far differently than the hundreds of people that watched her plane. So literally, this was so long, everybody was on the runway watching.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
As she's circling around.
While hallucinating, she might account that Helen's perspective, although unlikely, it doesn't explain why her and her plane vanished into the air. So I'm going to go over this a little bit. So she's radioing in, freaking out, like there's nothing down there.
Right.
The airport is freaking out too because they can see her. She's flying circles over top of them.
And she's
like,
not responding.
this island's not super big, so she's just going over. Like she's apparently the latitude longitude on her plane is correct. She knows right where she's supposed to be.
Okay.
And she's like, there's nothing down there. There's nothing down there. There's nothing down there. They're shining these big, like, I don't know if have you ever seen the big reflector lights?
Probably.
They're like the big spotlights they use at like movie theater premieres and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the ones that hit the clouds. So that's what they're shining at her.
Okay.
Trying to be like, hey, we're right here.
Right, yeah. You should be able to see this.
Hundreds of people gathered on these runways watching her fly in circles.
Okay.
She flew into this little black cloud and disappeared.
Yeah, that
completely.
That is weird.
Like hundreds of people witnessed this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then no plane crash, no more radio contact, no more radar signal. Gone.
I mean, this explains, I think, all the plane disappearances in the Bermuda.
I don't think it explains it. It's a part of the phenomena.
Explains.
Oh, yeah.
Mystery solved.
Living clouds. They've talked about them before.
Yeah. They're just swallowing planes.
They're just eating everything. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's pretty crazy. It sounds like she went through... Well, like she was viewing the island in a different timeline almost before it was developed.
Or a whole different place.
What do you mean, a whole different place?
No, she didn't see an island. She didn't see land.
Oh, I thought she could see the island, but there's no place to land. There's no villages. There's no airport. There's nothing.
No, there's nothing down there. There's nothing down there.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Okay, so it's just open ocean to her?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then there goes my theory.
See, I think she's just seeing ocean.
Oh, okay.
Or she may not even be seeing anything. She may be in the fog in her own head or in her own, wherever she's at.
Yeah.
She may be seeing that giant electric fog.
Well, yeah, for sure. She's seeing something that the people on the ground aren't seeing because they can see her.
Until the fog came into our reality and swept her away fully.
Yeah. Bled through. Finally pulled her through, or maybe, I don't know. Either way, yeah, it's very odd and weird that they could see her, but she couldn't see them. Like, that's almost like there was a veil up over blocking her perspective from this reality, and just seeing, she's seeing some alternate dimension, or she was in some alternate dimension, but the veil was still thin enough that us on this us on this side, us being the people on the island, could see her plane physically just flying around, circling around. So it's very odd. I mean, I'm trying to recall another scenario where people have seen other people in other dimensions, but they can't see us. I can't really recall anything.
So the only thing I kind of, well, not people exactly, but when we had Sean on the show,
yeah,
like that creature that they experienced didn't seem to be fully here or fully there.
right.
It's just weird. Like it's like I think this is one of the really cool, not cool for her, but examples of this phenomena.
Could be cool for her.
I don't. I guarantee wherever she ended up is not a good place.
I don't know. Maybe she got sucked through, and then she saw a runway and it was like made of gold, and people were greeting her and gave her.
I'm sure it's full of giant flying manta rays that eat flesh.
I think there's like freeze dried s'mores there that she's got astronaut ice cream waiting for her. All the good stuff.
See, I think she's no.
I think that's because you're a pessimist.
No, I'm a realist.
Same thing. Same difference.
When you fly through, the first thing you see is like a giant flying jellyfish, and you're like, oh, that's neat. And then this giant air snake bites your plane in half and sucks out you.
See, I think she landed like a giant ice cream cone full of like endless flavors of ice cream.
So this next little section may point to my theory I just said.
Oh, about the giant...
Just things like... Eating people.
Okay.
That this may be a carnivorous phenomena. We're going to talk about ghost ships.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's it called on SpongeBob? That ghost pirate guy.
No, that's a phantom ship.
Oh, okay.
No, ghost ships are a really common phenomena in the Bermuda Triangle. It's all common in the whole ocean, but a ghost ship is like, they're extremely common in the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, what's the difference between a ghost ship and a phantom ship?
I'm going to tell you if you let me talk for a second.
Well, then tell it already.
A ghost ship is a ship that's found floating with no passengers or crew or anything like that, with no explainable reason why the crew has been abandoned.
Okay.
Most of the time, these ships are still they're still, you can still drive them.
Yeah.
You can still drive them. It's not like that. It's like the people all disappeared. Not that the ship broke down or was sinking and then they got off.
And then abandoned ship, yeah.
And it's really common in the Bermuda Triangle. People find these, like, even this year, there's been like 4 or 5 of them found. It's almost like the entire crew just disappeared.
Like abducted. Or like pirates went aboard and like stole all their stuff, threw them overboard, and then just they abandoned ship too.
And
such a sad way.
There's no pirates in the Caribbean anymore.
That's what they want you to think.
No, the Alushka took care of them.
I don't know. That's why they make all them fancy movies that make you think.
The last one explained why there's no more pirates.
I didn't watch the last one.
Exactly. Don't talk about history when you don't know.
History. Oh, my gosh.
Now we're going to talk about Harley Young's article with this really like modern ghost ship thing, and then we'll talk more about ghost ships after.
Okay.
Chilling moment. Sailors come across a ghost ship near the Bermuda Triangle. Imagine thinking you and your crew were alone at sea, only to stumble upon an eerily quiet ship near the triangle. As you get closer, you realize something is amiss. There's no one aboard. This is what happened to a pair of sailors from the Ocean Research Project whilst exploring the Atlantic Ocean. The crew made this discovery in the Bermuda Triangle in 2013, realizing the ship's sailing wasn't up and the motor wasn't running. The researchers became worried as there was no signs of anyone. Thinking that someone on the vessel may be hurt and in need of medical attention, the pair of yachters climbed aboard to look around. Team member Matt decided to film his exploration and seemingly discarded boat, confirming that this was one awfully abandoned sailboat, a wolf found from the Irish Yacht Club. So that's the name of the boat.
Okay.
The Wolf Hound.
Okay.
There's no idea what's inside. I'm going to go and search along and hope I don't find any dead bodies or anything crazy like that, he says. Matt admitted he was afraid to open the doors to the cabin in fear of what he might find. After scouring the boat from top to bottom, he said, "No dead bodies, thank God. This is absolutely crazy, by the way. 800 miles from Bermuda, 1,500 miles from the U.S., standing on a very nice Swan 48 in the middle of the ocean." Matt managed to get in touch with the boat's owners, who offered him a cash reward if he could tow it back to Bermuda. The pair of sailors hauled the abandoned boat about 50 miles by the second day. It's kind of funny, he says. 48 boat with a 42-foot boat. We're doing our best trying to get her to Bermuda, said Matt. Following a long 47 days out at sea, their boat began to run low on fuel, so they flagged a passing freight ship and convinced them to offload some gas their way. Unfortunately, the abandoned wolfhound vessel had to be cut from the tow line after getting wrapped in the rudder, posing a danger risk in breaking off.
Ooh.
Since sharing the video online, sleuths have come to the conclusion that the vessel belonged to Alan, I'm not going to say his last name, a skipper of the Royal Irish Yacht Club, who was traveling along with crewmates and was rescued by a Greek cargo ship 64 miles north of Bermuda. The Wolfhound had suffered some damages caused by 20-foot waves and 50-knot winds. Alan and his crew set off the emergency beacon and abandoned the Wolfhound at sea during the rescue, when it was found by Matt and his team just 9 weeks later. Now, we're going to talk about this, though, that the beacon should have still been on the ship if this is the same ship.
Yeah.
There's internet sleuths that say that this is who it belonged to. There's not a lot of connections.
Okay.
I personally don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't think this was whose boat this was.
Well, they said they contacted the owners and said to tow it back, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So whoever was probably like renting the boat was the people on the vessel.
Okay.
And the yacht club probably like rents out to all these rich people.
Right, yeah. Vacationers or enthusiasts, boating, I don't know, recreational folk that got some moolah in their pockets. But, so they just found, what are you saying? There was no distress beacon on the ship?
So yeah, normally when a ship's abandoned, like if they get rescued, they put a beacon on it so it can be found later or it's avoided if it ends up in the shipping lanes.
Gotcha, okay.
Because the problem is like there's like a highway out in the ocean,
Right,
the shipping
yeah.
lanes.
The big cargo ships and things like that, yeah.
These big vessels that are abandoned, which happens regularly, they have to put a beacon on them. And most likely there would have been a beacon on it if it was the same ship.
Right. But there wasn't.
Right. And they even said that when the Allen and them were rescued, they put a distress beacon on the Wolfhound itself.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on there and it wasn't active when it was found 9 weeks later.
I mean, that is a long time.
Not for those distress beacons. They go for months, if not years.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Like it's just basically it just puts out a little like pulse.
I mean, what are the odds it got washed out too? I don't know.
I don't think it would have. To me, it's an abandoned ship, and somebody found one by a similar name,
And it attributed
9,000 miles away, and was just like, yeah.
Yep, it's this one. We found it. Cash reward, you say? Yes, this is the ship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's always that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found it.
Exactly. Paint, as they got their paint out. Wolf
But it's
hound.
weird. The Bermuda Triangle does not like to give up anything.
Yeah.
So when they're trying to tow it back, they ran into so much trouble trying to tow the ship back.
So it wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah. Well, it got caught in the rudder, and
Yeah.
they just cut it loose because it was going to destroy their boat, and they were going to end up out there with it.
Yeah, screw that.
But there's been all kinds of like divers like dying, like trying to bring back stuff from the bottom and stuff like that. The Bermuda Triangle does not give up anything. It
Right.
only takes. So remember that when you're down there in Bermuda taking a seashell,
It only takes.
it will take you.
Yeah. You might
take-
get sucked into the
You
seashell.
take a seashell and like a wave comes up, grabs your dog, and drags it into the ocean.
Gosh, that's frightening.
It's a trade.
Yeah, exactly.
You struck a deal.
That's
So that was a 49-foot ship.
okay. The one they found.
Yeah. What if I wanted?
That's pretty big.
You want to hear about a really big ship?
Okay. Is there a big cargo one that goes missing? Or a
Yeah.
shipping container?
I know, a cargo ship.
Dang. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. A ship full of shipping containers.
So a ghost ship lost before a hurricane near the Bermuda Triangle in 2018 has just washed ashore in Ireland.
Wow.
Storm Dennis, according to the Irish Coast Guard. The Coast Guard helicopter spotted this cargo ship Alta stumbled upon the rocks on the southern Irish coast on Sunday. So this was articles from 2020, though, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
The Alta was found near Bully Cotton in County Cork, in the Irish Coast Guard says. That's nearly 6,000 kilometers away from where it was lost, just north of Puerto Rico 17 months prior.
Wow.
There was no one on board.
Yep, ghost ship.
There was no one on board. So there's an image of it. You guys can look it up. It had washed up, like you'd see it smashed against the rocks. The spokesperson for the Irish Coast Guard said it was quite uncommon for a lost ship to drift that far. A man named John, the manager of the Irish Royal National Lifeboat Institute of Bally County, had a more colorful way of describing it. "This is 1 in a million," he told the Irish Examiner. "It has all come all the way from the African coast, west of the Spanish coast, west of the English coast, to end up on the Irish coast. I have never, ever seen anything abandoned like this before." So keep in mind, he's saying that if it was lost, because the way the jet stream works in the ocean,
Yeah.
if it was lost in Puerto Rico, he went all the way down South America to the Antarctic, back up the African coast, back up the Spanish coast, and crashed in Ireland.
Right. It's so weird. And no one saw it prior to this.
And it crossed hundreds of shipping lanes.
Yeah.
This is a cargo ship.
They're gigantic. They're floating buildings.
They're bigger than floating buildings.
That's pretty
They're
big.
skyscrapers.
That's a building.
I know, but when you say building, people think of like a house,
Oh, okay.
a business.
A big building.
We're talking about skyscraper.
Yeah. If you've never seen, I don't know if you've ever, if you've never been out in the ocean that see these things in person, like it's, I don't know, it's just so much bigger than you can even imagine.
So the vessel was abandoned in October 2018, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. The cargo ship was traveling from Greece to Haiti when it broke down some 2,200 kilometers southwest of Bermuda on September 19th, leaving all 10 crew members stranded on board. The crew was forced to ration their food and wait for help for almost 20 days. The U.S. Coast Guard said at this time it inevitably had enough food for 2 days and water for 15 days, but the Coast Guard airdropped supplies and the stranded individuals until the rescue ship could rescue them. Everyone was ultimately rescued safely ahead of the hurricane and was barreling towards them at this time. So they got stranded. The ship broke down.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard, like, there's little planes are flying overhead. They can't help them and just dropping food.
I guess what else you can, I mean, it's better than nothing.
As this monster storm
Yeah.
is barreling towards you,
Here's some food.
like Godzilla running at you.
Yeah. Here's
A
a chicken
force of
sandwich.
nature.
Yeah.
Don't eat each other until we rescue you, please. So this is a 2,200 ton, 77 meter long boat spotted adrift on its way back to Africa. This boat made no sense of the way it was floating. Our officials are worried it'll break loose the rocks and the diesel fuel will spill out onto the beach, causing environmental damage. The ghost ship has already survived the fabled Bermuda Triangle and Davy Jones' locker, but officials hope that it stay intact just a little longer so its pollution won't haunt them for years to come.
So they couldn't, like, I don't know, I guess, how would you reclaim the ship? How would you get it or pull it up ashore to stop it?
So what a lot of these ships get is, like, there's a couple ways these ships that end up like this.
Yeah.
You can get environmentally scrubbed. There are compounds and chemicals that you can put in these vessels. Like, you scrub them, and it'll eat up and make it like soluble for the environment.
Okay.
All the dangerous chemicals, and then you just sink it.
Okay.
Like,
Wait,
that's
you
what
pour that like in a fuel tank or
I
something?
fished a cargo ship in Florida.
Oh, they just sink them. They don't even try to pull them out.
No, you can't.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you can't. You know these things, or you chop them up.
Okay.
There are like chop shops and stuff like that for these big vessels.
ocean chop shops.
Kinda like that's
Yeah.
what a lot of our I can't remember which historic ship just got chopped up for the U.S. Navy.
Titanic?
Yeah, the Titanic.
Or that little thing that went to save them. I think that's in a chop shop somewhere.
Yeah,
In the back of this, it's in the back of the Smithsonian.
that's horrible.
They don't want anyone to see that ever
Quick
again.
joke: there was a guy that was like out fishing like in the middle of the ocean. He sees some debris floating by, and it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. But he dives down. It's like this white piece of plastic, and he's holding. He dives in the water, swimming around. He's like, just some garbage." And as he throws it, it turns to the other side, and you can see it says Seagate on it.
Yeah, I believe.
Well, it was
know
done
what?
as a skit.
I know, and it wouldn't shock me if that actually showed up on the news and they ran with it.
Oh yeah. So this is going to be a longer episode. We're going to try to do this in just two more, like this episode and then one more. So we're going to take our ad break now. Hopefully this is close to the middle. We never know. All right, we'll be back, guys.
We're back.
That's actually the sound the fog makes.
Yeah, it just popped out of a portal.
So before we continue on, do you have anything about these? Like, there's hundreds of these ships. The first episode we talked about, there was kids that went missing when I was down there in Florida, from Jupiter, Florida.
Yep.
There's like that all the time. Like the boats are fine. They're just the people are gone.
I've even seen like YouTube videos you can find them where people will find ghost ships or abandoned.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
But the Bermuda Triangle, it is, I can't remember, I looked up the number.
The
it
Mecca.
Is like 3,000% more common.
Okay.
It's some stupid number like that. Like,
Yeah, it's just some correlation of this being a weird area.
and most ghost ships are only one person normally when they go missing.
Not a whole crew?
Not a whole crew. Like this has like dozens of, there was 2 or 3 people in the boat. There's 4 or 5 people in the boat. So what happens on a normal ghost ship, it's normally a fishing vessel. It's normally somebody like falls off and it's just the one guy in the boat and he can't get back on board.
Like I told you that story in the last episode, I think it was, when I told you about that guy in Canada.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
So the weird thing with the Bermuda Triangle, it's like whole groups of people. Where it's like, to me, it's the fog's eating them or tentacles are ripping them off the boat or something crazy.
They're abducted. Maybe their mind and their consciousness gets sucked through a interdimensional portal that
Then what happens to their bodies?
They're part of it. Pulls a whole organic vessel with them, just the organic living things, like things with sentient, energy running through them. So these hulls of these ships are just the shell that's left behind.
So you ready for phantom ships, or do you want to talk about ghost ships more?
I mean, I think everyone gets a good idea of ghost ships and what they are and how common they are in Bermuda. I think or the Triangle area. That's the biggest takeaway from that section. It's happening, and it's a common occurrence, unfortunately, but
very common.
And you can find the documentation to confirm some of these accounts. So,
okay, let's talk about phantom ships.
Okay, now this is the one I was talking about with SpongeBob and that green. What's that guy's name? I can't.
Davy
think.
Jones.
Oh, it is Davy Jones.
Yes.
Oh, okay, and the vessel.
No, that's the Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman. That's what it is. Yeah.
The XS Cotopaxi.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with. Is one of the most renowned Bermuda Triangle disappearances. I think all of them state that this is one of the most renowned Bermuda Triangle disappearances. There's over 2,000 ships have been missing in the last 300 years in the Bermuda Triangle.
This one.
This is the most renowned.
Yeah.
This one is, though. Sure. The ship and its 32 crew members vanished without a trace en route to Cuba in 1925, which has given the rise to the legends of this phantom ship. It has even been recently sighted off the coast of Cuba. It has popped up in films like Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Soft disclosure.
The Cotopaxi, it was discovered on the other side of the world in the Gobi Desert, having been dropped there by aliens in the movie.
Interesting.
But now it seems the mystery of the Cotopaxi has been solved, as marine biologist Michael has identified the known wreck as the missing ship. So they have all these wrecks. They know all these wrecks, but they don't know what ships they are. Because there's so many in the Bermuda, like especially like marine biologists. That's what they're diving for. They're going to look for that.
Okay.
Now I have another ship for you that's even older. That's still seen to this day. So, anyways, with the Cotopaxi, people see it
Still to this
and
day.
People have seen it with like the green fog. Like there's this giant ship inside the green fog, and when they get close enough, they can read the Cotopaxi, the USS Cotopaxi on the side.
And then what happens? Do they get even closer? Is it like just disappear?
We
or
don't
what?
hear from those people.
Oh, okay.
It's
They
like-
become the green fog.
Maybe it's like a lure,
Oh, okay.
like a giant anglerfish. The fog is using, like here's a ship,
Right.
a previous victim.
And what if it is the actual ship? It's still luring them in.
I don't know. So people have seen them like disappear when they don't get like. So this green fog, like the ship rolls in, they see this giant ship, and then it just kind of, as it's going, disappears back like a ghost.
That's so weird.
There's even a more famous one. The legend has it that the Alan Austin, a ship that was sailing to Liverpool, or from Liverpool to New York, encountered a ghost ship in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Something don't add up there. Liverpool to New York, they shouldn't cross the Bermuda, right? Nah, they shouldn't.
It's probably because of shipping lanes and currents and stuff.
Okay.
I'm not a ship. I've never driven a boat on the ocean. I just sat on one. Anyway, so the Bermuda Triangle, and things went awry very quickly.
Okay.
When Alan Austin approached the foggy waters of the Sargasso Sea, an area in the Atlantic Ocean that overlaps with the Bermuda Triangle, it really overlaps with the Bermuda Triangle very extensively. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
A crew encountered a fully stocked, abandoned ship. Seeing an opportunity to seize valuable cargo, they sent some of their men over to occupy the ship and sail the remaining journey side by side. But a wicked storm quickly separated the two ships. And when they were reunited days later, there wasn't a trace of the other crew in sight.
So they disappeared on the ship too.
The ship was once more abandoned,
Yeah.
but left packed with valuable resources. So captain of the Alan Austin tried boarding it again, but his crew members got aboard the second time. A thick, blinding green fog rolled in and separated the ships once more. When the fog cleared, the ghost ship had completely vanished, according to the stories and newspaper reports at the time.
Wow, it really was like a lure.
Yeah, so this ship, you see this ship, it's packed with valuables cargo.
Yeah.
It's still, it's there. It's kind of in this green fog. They get over there. They start sailing it back. They get separated by the green fog. When they re-see the ship, the entire half of the crew is gone.
Yeah.
The one on that ship.
Right, yeah.
Then, they're thinking, okay, let's just abandon this. It's not worth it.
Right.
The captain, being extremely greedy, tried it again,
And the same thing happened?
and the same thing happened.
Well, even worse so.
Well, the ship disappeared too.
Everything disappeared.
But this, minutes after they get on the ship, the green fog envelops it, and,
Yeah.
and the whole thing disappears.
It is almost like something conscious is in that green fog. It's odd. It's scary.
That a house of God looks like a facade for training death squads proclaiming jihad.
I wonder if that green fog's only over the ocean or something.
Interesting theory.
I wonder if remember all that smoke, quote unquote, we had?
That's a different show.
What if that had,
No, it all would have disappeared.
I mean,
If it was over the Midwest like that,
but, well, I'm curious though, if there were any disappearances that happened
sure, but not like...
in this area.
This is like everybody that goes in the green fog disappears.
Well, yeah. I'm saying it used the whole smoke as a cover, and then the actual thing. Oh, yeah. Different show, you're right.
Different
Oh.
show. All right. So we're going to change gears a little bit. Do you have anything to add, though, for phantom ships? These are, once again, very common. Those are the two kind of big ones. Everybody sees the Cotopaxi.
Yeah.
Everybody sees this cargo sailing ship. It is sometimes mistaken as a pirate ship, but it's like a cargo sailing ship from the 1800s.
Okay.
But it's still seen to this day. Both of those ships are still seen to this day.
So,
There was a fisherman that had seen the Cotopaxi 2019,
oh, wow. Okay.
and they went the other way.
Yeah. I was
The
going to say.
charter captain literally, I think it was like a charter vessel, if I remember the story correctly. And the guys that were fishing were like, that's a weird big ship over there. And the guy literally put down the motors and started leaving with the charter captain did. And
Yeah.
the guys were like, where are we going? We're still fishing. We still have 8 hours. And they're like, nope.
Nope. I've
Full refund.
read this story before.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those fishermen, all these boaters in the Bermuda Triangle that kind of know but don't talk about it. Like we talk about with Bigfoot. There's a lot of people that know,
But they don't talk
they
about
don't
it.
talk about it.
Yeah. Man. Yep. So, word of advice: if you see a odd-looking, ghostly with a green cloud over it,
Oh, the green
ship,
fog is not just with the ghost ships, but yes.
either way, if you see any of this stuff,
If you see green fog in your life, just avoid it.
right, it's like the
It's probably alive and it's hungry.
it's like that. You ever seen the movie Spawn, the live-action version Spawn? Oh, well, there's that clown, the evil clown. When he lets one rip, it's a green fog, and that stuff's dangerous. So, same difference.
What do you think our next subject's going to be?
Flying manta rays.
Oh, so close. So close. UFOs.
Okay, I was close.
Mm-hmm. Accounts of weird activity in the area were already being recorded way back during the days of exploration and early travel.
Is this going to be
Fact.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Christopher Columbus wrote of a large fireball dropping out of the sky into the ocean during his journeys in this region in 1492.
His first
Columbus
voyage.
claimed that what he saw caused his compass to malfunction and spin wildly.
Now, why wasn't this in that song we had to sing in school?
In 1492, a fireball crashed into the Atlantic and caused malfunctions in the compass.
Yeah, you see? That rolls right off the tongue.
I was going to say it doesn't rhyme well.
Wow, I think you misremembered the lyrics.
Gave blankets to the natives.
No, okay, yeah.
Don't ever take a free blanket. A couple of UFOs were spotted on the horizon of the Bermuda Triangle back in 2014 by passengers aboard a cruise ship. The UFOs were described as being bright orange with lights that gradually dimmed and disappeared after a few minutes. So the UFOs in the Bermuda Triangle, I have tons and tons of stories we're going to go into. Hopefully you guys enjoy them but the UFO, specifically Miami, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and then Bermuda, like all this area, has these weird, like fireballs.
Okay.
Now, fireballs aren't uncommon UFOs across the world.
Right.
But there is a staggering availability of these stories in the Bermuda Triangle areas.
Interesting. Okay.
There are always like fireballs, like these orange or yellow lights shooting across places, going into the ocean, rising up out of the ocean. But they're always like they're on fire.
Huh. Like the
including Christopher Columbus.
like those lights out in that river. I can't remember the country now, but they always see like these fireballs coming up at a certain time of year. They'll come up out of the river, and everyone will watch the lights that fly up. And they were explained away as swamp gas. So this is ocean swamp gas. Mystery solved. Easy. Easy.
Ocean swamp gas.
They are not
All
thinking.
right, then I'll move on.
Yeah, move on. That's already solved.
Before we get into some of these fireball accounts, what if I told you there is on Google Earth, there is an actual picture of a UFO laying at the bottom of the ocean? This isn't the the Bimini anomaly. What's that?
Baltic Sea
The
anomaly.
Baltic Sea anomaly. This isn't that. This is a giant, massive alien vessel apparently laying on the bottom of the ocean. I've looked at the pictures.
Yeah.
Just type in that. Like I'm not putting it in the show notes because I'm not that kind of man. But the Google Earth map.
I just don't know.
Alien ship in the Bermuda Triangle.
I don't know if I have full credence in that. I don't know. I just don't know if I believe that as much.
It's weird. It's a weird shape. I'll tell you that.
But yeah, I guess I don't. I just don't know how I feel about it.
So the UFO expert claimed to have spotted a massive alien vessel underneath the ocean near the coast of Florida using Google Earth. According to experts, the vessel moved across a network of underwater roads within the Bermuda Triangle. So this thing has been in several spots, but it's following like these channels.
Oh, so it's been photographed more than once.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
just
moving
like a
around.
one-time anomaly.
It's like a giant crustacean.
That, or maybe it is a vessel, like a transportation vessel,
A living island.
or it could be that too.
Anyway, so they think this big vessel is moving around on its own roads. The object was located several miles off of the Great Acabo Islands, and it has a very elongated shape. Using Google Earth's distance measurement tool, they estimate the object is about 16 kilometers long.
Pretty big. Pretty big for being a man-made vessel.
I don't think it's man-made.
If I'm just saying,
Aside from the object, aside from the object, Warning also saw trails in the ocean. He referred to these trails as forming straight lines, as in underwater roads. He also speculated that it could have been long drag marks made by objects other than this unknown vessel millions of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Although he noted that the object appears to be abandoned, he said it may have been moving and dragging itself across the ocean floor for millions of years now. He assumed the object was most likely an alien mining vessel that was sent to Earth to explore its oceans and extract precious resources from the bottom of the ocean. Interestingly enough, the object, as well as a long drag mark discovered, were all within the famous Bermuda Triangle. For years, the region has been referred to as the Devil's Triangle, as it has been a subject to debate along with scientific community and UFO enthusiasts due to its mysterious nature. So this object is massive, and it has tons. Like there's like you can follow its trail that's been moving. Now there's the same phenomena with the I think it's Nevada has the Wandering Rocks.
Yeah, the Wandering Stone. It's out west. It might be Nevada or Utah.
And they think it's the wind doing it.
Oh no, they've explained what it is now. Supposedly, it's when the when it's in the winter when the ground like freezes or something, like the snow or whatever expands or the ice expands under it and kind of slowly just lifts the rocks ever so slightly.
It just moves them like that.
So it just slowly moves
Little
them.
glaciers.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I could see it. I don't know though.
I don't know. That's what they explain as it is, but it's very odd looking because it's just these stones and they got these definitely a long trail that they've created, but it's just a rock.
Yeah.
It's just weird to stumble across.
What are the silicone-based life forms and they just live for billions of years and they're just crawling really slowly?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, look at starfish. If you watch them closely, yeah, they're walking and they're moving, but if you turn away for 5 minutes and look back, they moved. You don't really see it happening unless you're actively slowly watching the slow movements.
So they have this as a UFO because it's kind of like elongated square-ish.
Mhm.
You know what's that rock, Muamua, that came through our solar system a couple years back?
Yeah, the space rock.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's almost the exact same size and shape as that. Now I just put that together in my own head. Huh. A Muamua is a bloop.
Ha! It's a
Traveling,
space bloop. Yeah.
Traveling in between solar systems to find oceans.
Looking for I don't know why it didn't stop then.
Because we already had one.
Oh, okay.
It's like 3 per planet.
You think it would have known that already and like looking for a mate?
Well, yeah, it sensed the female calling, but the male scared it off in the Bermuda Triangle.
So it's like, I'm out.
Yeah, it's bigger.
See you in 42 light years.
Yeah. No, so it's a weird
even make
object.
sense.
It's a weird object. It looks like it's almost like a track.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what are these tracks then? Are they created by it? Are they ancient?
It seems
Highways.
like it's connected to this structure. What they want to call it, a rock outcropping against the ocean currents are creating like this what appears to be a drag mark.
Yeah.
If it's actually moving, if it's something maybe even like some kind of reef that we don't understand yet, that it's kind of crawling, as in not really crawling, as one side dies, the other side grows kind of deal.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's I could see what you mean there.
Reefs do move like that over millions of years, real slow.
Yeah.
But they do move like that. As pieces die, other pieces grow.
Now, and this one's been photographed more than once, I guess, on
Yeah.
satellite. Now, and with the time
Some
being
people
and the distance,
claimed that it has moved.
okay,
Other people have claimed that it's just the way that the different like photographing techniques and stuff like that.
different angles
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what I feel about it.
Either way, it's an odd occurrence, but in this odd area, so it may play a part. It may just be a random anomaly that just happens to be there.
I got to put this in the front of the first episode of this.
What's that?
Every time you say odd, you got to do a shot.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
No, because it is. It's just all. It's all.
No, I mean it's bad for anyone listening
Yeah,
because
they'll
there
die.
will be
You'll die of alcoholism.
we will create alcoholics by this one episode or this season finale alone.
Okay, you ready for more?
Mm-hmm.
Recent UFO activity.
Oh, I don't like that whisper voice.
Most recently, 2 UFO
I can't hear you.
accounts appeared in very similar descriptions of UFO witnesses.
No, you're too. This isn't good.
Okay. More recently, 2 UFO accounts appeared in very similar descriptions to that of UFO witness Bruce Gurman.
That's the same guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Following his experience. In March 2009, came reports of strange yellow lights in the sky over the Bermuda Triangle area. Witnesses would include air passengers as well as some naval cameras. Furthermore, the lights came out as a static feel to them, and they left a vortex that was clearly visible above in the clouds hours after they had disappeared.
Oh wow. Okay.
So kind of like what they're basically saying is it's the same thing. They think it's the same thing Bruce seen from the outside. They're seeing it from the outside.
Aha. Okay.
That they see these orange staticky lights like flashing and this vortex being left in the clouds as they're moving.
Okay.
Just over 6 months later, in October 2009, passengers on a passing cruise ship would report 2 orange-colored UFOs on the horizon of the Bermuda Triangle. Lights were extremely bright, appearing to grow in size as they brightened their glow. After several months, they began to persistently fade. Huh?
After minutes, I'm hoping.
Oh, moments. Sorry, what'd I say?
Moments, months.
I get too excited when I read. Moments. After moments, they began to fade.
Say they were watching this thing for a while.
Well, yeah, the cruise ship parked there. Well, remember when the cruise ships were all stuck?
Yeah, that's what they were watching this thing.
You know, like, how scary would that be? You get stuck on a cruise ship, you're like, you're going to be here for 6 months, and then you look out and there's just these giant glowing balls coming.
If I was out there for
You're like,
the
the world has ended.
I would welcome them at that point.
The world has ended. Anyway, so eventually fading away. The ship radar couldn't pick up anything in their vicinity. Perhaps it is interesting that these lights would fade gradually instead of vanishing in a flash or at great speed, as is often the case. A very similar incident also occurred in almost identical circumstances later in 2014. Whether the reason is for the Bermuda Triangle region, they continue today. Whether it is a natural phenomena or a doorway to a visiting world that would reportedly keep opening and closing. Perhaps it's worth remembering how active Puerto Rico is, who shares a point of the triangle in UFO activity. Remember when we did our Chupacabra season opener this past season? The weather and the remains around the watery depths of the Atlantic are those of ancient and legendary civilization of Atlantis. Only further unbiased studies will tell. And then you can move forward in putting together the pieces of the true jigsaw of human history.
Which is indeed a jigsaw.
So yeah, what's more of these orange lights, and then also a Bruce's encounter from the outside.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
I always imagine, too, because I relate this to the Bigfoot story, or to Bigfoot, too. Some people have claimed seeing Bigfoot, using portals and whatnot. But they did describe it as an orange glow that opened up, and when they seen a Bigfoot actually come out, it was glowing orange, or it came out in like an orange ball of light. So it's just very similar to that. And then the one account I was thinking of that the guy saw, the Bigfoot itself went from this orange light into a Bigfoot form, but it was still that glowing orange tinge. But it just seems like with all this, and it just seems like that's a product of either traveling through portals or opening up portals. It's just this orange kind of energy of light. It just seems to overlap. So that's what makes sense to me. It seems like to me that this is portals opening and closing. But where are they going? Where are they coming from? What's creating them? That's the major mystery. I don't even know how to describe portals or like in our terms of our own reality, because I've never stepped through one or even witnessed one, but I don't even know what it even is at the end of the day. Is it a doorway to a new world, or is it just like a electromagnetic phenomena we're witnessing? It's just discharging energy. I don't know.
Anomalous phenomena. And that could
Exactly.
be that whatever ball lightning is,
Yeah.
we're seeing a really exaggerated example of it. And I do believe, so ball lightning happens. It's not lightning though. Like it's not traditionally what we call lightning.
Yeah,
it's just this big ball of what appears
discharge
to be electricity. I think they're
energy.
I think they're plasma.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's plasma, and people have a hard time not understanding that there are more than 3 states of matter.
Yeah.
And people, because that's what you're taught in school. There's 3. There's actually 7.
7?
Yes.
7?
Yeah. Some people say 5. Some people say 7. I'm going with 7.
8. That's from Little Rascals. What's your account number?
So
7.
So the 7th state of matter is plasma, and the 8th state of matter is.
I thought it was element 115 or whatever.
No, so it's like I think these are side effects, because these like orange balls aren't like intelligent, aren't moving around like a lot of the other UFOs described around the world. They're always there. Now we talk about orbs, the smaller ones on the ground, like you're talking about with Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They seem to be more intelligent.
Right.
These ones are often like shooting kind of straight lines or just hanging out in a spot. Oh, I don't know. These seem like really extreme natural phenomena to me that we don't understand. But the whole paranormal world's natural phenomena we
don't understand. Yeah. It just seems like it's just focused energy in one spot.
I really think it's like, well, even like you were saying, like a byproduct of these doors opening.
Right. Yeah.
This energy discharge that happens, and this is what the form it takes.
Or even like what they need to open up these portals from the other side or this side. It's using this energy, like whatever's creating it. Maybe it's advanced tech. I don't know, but it's definitely a byproduct of. I guess I could only describe it as a portal opening to a different, quote unquote, world, or just a different plane of existence, a different something. Whatever this paranormal side of stuff is. It's a doorway to that.
A doorway. Do you want some more UFO encounters?
Sure. Is it exclusively UFO, or is there any USOs in this too?
So, like, a lot of these are seen going in the ocean and stuff like that. The USO encounters were a little harder to find. There's a lot around Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
We covered that pretty extensively, though, in our Puerto Rican chupacabra.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot around U.S., like, we'll get back to it. We'll
Okay.
get back to it.
All right.
Because there's some stuff with the underwater cavern system in the Bermuda Triangle that we're going to cover later.
Oh yeah, we talked about the holes already. So,
The holes.
but okay.
There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea.
There literally is
A bunch of them.
with
And they're
things
full of UFOs and the government.
and bloops.
Yeah, they don't live in the hole.
Same difference.
What?
Is the government? The bloop's a government creature.
No.
Oh yeah.
The bloop's above it.
Oh, we'll see.
The bloop actually runs the shadow government.
Wait till you flip up its tail and see its patent number. Then you'll
Doesn't
see.
have a tail.
You'll see.
Just has legs.
One of them. Some
Bunch of little tiny legs.
Some flap. There's a flap on it you lift, and there's the patent number.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another UFO.
this was 3/6/2023,
Oh.
Miami, Florida. So this is from the UFO reporting website.
Okay.
I just pulled a couple from the Bermuda Triangle area.
Very recent.
Durations around 3 minutes. Characteristics: they were lights on the object. There was an aura or a haze around the object. The object emitted other objects, and the objects changed color.
Okay.
I was on a plane on my way home, and all of a sudden the plane gains crazy acceleration, and I see out my window 3 floating discs. We were on the plane on our way to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I am aware that whenever a plane is about to land, they go a little south to the ocean to make the turn. First thing that felt odd was that the plane went really far out. We were having a lot of turbulence, and people started to get kind of scared. At this point, I'm looking out the window, but I do not see anything since it's very cloudy, and we're still high in the sky. The turbulence continues, and then the plane comes down to the sky, or where the sky is clear, pitch black. And at this moment, it is 11:53 p.m. I notice the plane out of nowhere starts to accelerate tremendously. I've never seen a plane do that or go that fast before, specifically as we were about to land. Anyway, I see people are recording and looking out the windows, so I do the same. When I look outside, I see 5 bright discs, but at the end, only 3 stayed. They were very close to the plane. I would have guessed less than 100 meters away. I could see them so clearly. The colors they had. One of them had a bright orange and red light, bright orange kind of red light. The other one was kind of blue. And the other ones kept their lights on, or kept turning their lights on and off. Just the cool white color. They started to fly by the plane, it seemed. They could move so fast, effortlessly, and the plane was going at a very, very high speed. I stared at them for maybe 2 minutes and started recording. After we got out of the pitch black place, apparently we see some city lights, and they disappeared, and the plane was still going super fast. Plane never stopped or slowed down whenever we landed, so it thinks it was trying to scrape it.
Okay.
So yeah, they were getting chased. Like the plane was getting chased by these UFOs.
And the plane itself kept going faster.
Yeah.
Just as they were getting ready to land, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like that one Tesla car that the guy just went to park, and then it just accelerated on its own and went full 120 miles an hour down the residential street and hurt a bunch of people. It's just same, and maybe it's a Tesla plane.
Different show.
That's a real thing that happened.
Now this one is incredibly short. This next one, but I included it because of one of my encounters that I may have not shared on the show. I think I've shared it, but maybe not. This was 4/12/2020, Miami, Florida. Shape was constantly changing. Duration 30 seconds. Characteristics: there was an aura or haze around the object. That's one of their little slide bars. That's why you see it it's written the same way every time.
What do you mean?
Like when you report your encounter.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, like an aura or a haze around the object.
Oh, gotcha.
Because you see that commonly reported.
Yeah.
It's because it's one of the little slide bars.
Like something
To
like a
select.
checklist. Yeah.
It was a red-orange fireball over Miami.
Okay.
The red-orange fireball changing shapes to that of a boomerang after a few seconds abruptly disappearing, shooting all around over top of Miami. It disappeared over the ocean. So when I was I know I've told this story. Me and Nick were in Arkansas in the swamps, pitch black, middle of the night. There's no light pollution. We turned off the boat looking at the stars. And this giant, almost it looked like a melting orange boomerang came shooting across the sky. And we watched it go all the way across the sky real slow until it disappeared over the horizon. And we're like, all right, well, we're leaving.
Yeah. You should have called it in. Called it to land to you.
No, thank you. We're in
hey,
the middle of nowhere, Arkansas.
Nice to see you up there. So this one so it's very similar to that, what you saw, it sounds like, yeah. That first one also reminds me of the, you ever see, I don't know if they're real, but it looked like it was a promo video for something that come from Amazon where they have the big mothership that releases all those drones out of it, and then they deliver all that weird stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which sounds absolutely frightening to me.
Well, that was a blimp.
Yeah, it was a blimp. That's what it was. That's kind of what it kind of reminded me of.
Blimps are super slow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just it had that feel in my mind of just a mothership kind of, and then having all these things come out of it. That first one, I don't know.
Now, what if I told you that it's kind of weird that we haven't really brought up the U.S. government much yet?
Not yet. I'm sure it's coming.
Besides their ships disappearing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, nothing that they've done or are actively doing.
I've said the Andros Island several times already.
Mhm.
What if I told you there's a massive military base on the Andros Islands?
Why am I not surprised?
Now, this is the famous military base. We're going to talk all about the base here in a second. This is the famous base that I can't remember if it was one of the shows that didn't last very long. Like one of the paranormal conspiracy shows.
Ghost Brothers?
No, not like that. Like they went to this base. It may have been what's his name, the ex-governor
Ex-governor.
that yelled at Plum Island.
Oh, Jesse Ventura?
It may have been Jesse Ventura's show
Okay.
because they go to this base and they were supposed to be able to get on very similar thing, and then at the day of they don't allow them. But the weird thing with this base is there's tons and tons and tons of cables and tubes going into the ocean.
Yeah, okay. Well, who knows what experiments...
And this base is commonly, and it may not be this exact base for legal reasons. Let's just say that it's not this base for legal reasons. It's not this base for legal reasons, but maybe this base or a base similar in the same vicinity.
Could be, but it's not.
It's not. Has said that they don't have anything in the ocean. Like they don't have anything in the ocean. They don't have anything in the ocean. And literally these people have like filmed and on these boats, like fall on these gigantic cables and tubes and pipes, and they just disappear off the drop off.
They're internet cables, duh.
They may be, but they said there's not even that. Like there's nothing, there's not supposed to be anything.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center,
Okay.
a U.S. government base on the Andros Islands. It's a military base, U.S. Navy. Started in 1966 to present. The United States Navy's Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center is a laboratory that performs integrated three-dimensional hydrosphere, aerosphere trajectory measurements, converting the entire spectrum of the undersea simulation warfare.
Okay.
This does calibrations, classifications, detection, and destruction. Its mission is to assist in the establishment and maintenance or maintaining level ability of the United States through the testing, evaluation, and undersea research.
Okay. So they're got nothing out there, but they have this there.
So basically, yeah, it's like yes.
Okay. Odd already. Another, take a shot.
Ooh, I'm going to die.
Ew.
The temporary task force performed by the AUTEC is testing and certifying the proficiency of the U.S. Navy submarine captains and their crew, as well as the accuracy of their undersea weapons. The Sinograph facility includes 3 testing ranges: the weapon range, the acoustic range, and the FORACS range, all located in the tongue of the ocean. Which is the tongue of the ocean? It's a deep ocean basin approximately 100 nautical miles long, 15 nautical miles wide, and the depth of a great as 6,000 feet. So it's basically like this giant underwater ocean plateau they're using for testing.
Okay.
It's kind of like a big stadium.
Yeah, that's kind of how I pictured in my head too.
The main AUTEC support base and its downrange tracking station are on Andros Island in the Bahamas, just west of Nisa, about 180 nautical miles southwest of West Palm Beach, Florida. On July 23rd, 2020, Corporation PAE Applied Technologies received roughly $32.9 million for 6 more months of facility and range maintenance, and the range occupation support services. They get a lot of money. They roughly received $430 million for 5 years worth of operations and maintenance.
That's a lot of money.
But they get extra money every once in a while for random things.
I wonder what for. Probably $4,000 worth of hammers.
It's keeping those UFOs at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to build a big net. Build a big net and put it over the bottom of the ocean. Keep them down there.
That'll definitely work.
It works every once in a while.
Yeah.
We get one caught in the net. We blow it up. It may have been a whale, but we wanted to make sure it was dead.
It's dead, all right.
I mean, this. I don't I'm not a great military man. Like, there's a lot of words in here I don't understand.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand what this base, as far as I understand, is used for submarine testing.
Right.
So when I say they don't have anything, they don't have like an underwater base, is what they claim.
That's what they claim.
But they have like, so the cables could be for sonographs and stuff like that. They basically train the test submarine captains and crews to hit targets, their acoustic abilities, all this stuff. Like it's a safe. It's like a stadium to make sure you're okay before you go out into the open ocean.
Right, yeah. Wonder what other kind of technology is on this base, though, too.
Well, the Deepwater Range lies roughly parallel to the east coast of Andros Island, the largest and most versatile of the AUTEC range. It is capable of tracking up to 36-inch water objects, or 36-inch water objects simultaneously. The range is supported by the main base site 1 and various smaller site locations along the east coast of Andros Island. The sonar communications set in bi-directional mobile targets are emergency communication signals coverage, while HU radio communications are available over the entire range.
Did you just have a stroke?
Yeah, I don't understand any of these words. They have some of the most extreme in-air tracking in the world.
Okay. In-air tracking?
Mm-hmm. The in-air tracking is provided by radar and various other in-air tracking systems like LiDAR. I'm going to try to say this one. You ready for this one?
Oh, yeah.
Hyperbolic in-air tracking system. Oh, I got it. Hits. The differential GPS systems are also used. These in-air systems cover the entire base weapon range, a distance of 500 nautical miles from Site 1, and as a height. Now, Jay, keep in mind, what I've just said.
Okay.
They cover a height of up to 70,000 feet.
That's like the whole atmosphere, right?
Pretty much. I mean, not really, but yeah.
Okay, it's a big chunk of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's a lot going up.
Their surveillance radio operators are supported in air and surface systems. Their in-water tracking is also impeccable. These in-air water portions of the weapons range cover 500 square nautical miles. The range can be divided into two distinct tracking areas consisting of roughly 250 square nautical miles each. This flexibility allows the unique operations of two-dimensional involvement exercises, using a total range to refer to as the weapons range. While dividing the range into two distant portions, the north section is referred to the weapons range north, whilst the south portion is, can you guess, referred to the weapons range south.
South. Oops, real creative.
Electronic warfare threat simulations. Electronic warfare threat simulations is a real-time system that can generate complex dynamic electromagnetic signals in the environment at radio frequency levels. With this system, the AUTEC offers compatibilities to test different platforms receiving in open air, over-the-water capabilities. This system consists of radar simulations, pestle and control antennas, high-powered amplifiers, collaboration equipment, and operational workstations. The system is housed in the air-conditioned redome and located 74 feet. Located in the 74 feet tower.
Okay, so they got the ability to manipulate radio waves and things like that, or to send, what's this thing do again?
I don't know.
Well, it sounds like it's messing with something like as far as energy and wavelengths. Like they've got the ability to.
It generates. So basically, this is generating ghost targets.
Yeah,
a big chunk.
Okay, that's weird.
So as far as the ships with their radar and stuff like that,
yeah,
they're seeing targets.
Yeah,
and they're fighting things that aren't there.
That's weird.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah, take a shot.
I said it's when you say it, not when I say it.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just crazy to me. And this base this may or may not be the base that has all these cables going into the ocean.
Yeah. Either way,
now let's go all the way back to episode 2 of this.
Okay.
I know it's like
last episode,
3 hours ago though.
Yeah.
As far as record time,
right?
We talked about the Luska in the Bermuda or in the Bahamas, where this base is.
Mm-hmm.
The Bahamas are full of these underwater caves.
Right.
The area, maybe not this base, but the base that has the cables going into the ocean, is in these cave systems. Now, if you remember, the bottom of the Luska's holes, most people report in recent times, since about the 60s. These big glowing lights and odd objects in the bottom of these cave systems.
Okay.
Now, did I tell you when this base was built?
I don't think you did.
Oh, I didn't? 1966. About the same time the blue hole lights started.
Odd.
I personally believe that the Lushka is a natural creature
Okay.
and that it may have been pushed out to aggressive levels by somebody else building in its ancestral home.
In its area, yeah. Which we've seen that countless times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And makes an animal much more aggressive when it's not in its normal habitat,
Right.
or it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, when it feels threatened, when something else is in its habitat,
Mm-hmm.
making changes.
So these blue holes and the lights in the blue holes are seen all over the triangle area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, what if somebody had the ability to pump a whole bunch of power, fresh water, and electricity down into this massive limestone cave system that goes all over the Bermuda Triangle and into mainland Florida
Yeah.
and into islands like Cuba, for example.
And probably other
Oh, all the islands. But I'm
islands,
just saying that
like with secret tunnels going into it.
it's basically that. And they go all, like Puerto Rico's full of these islands. Like Puerto Rico's hollow.
Yeah.
We talked about, remember? It's funny that we started in Puerto Rico this season and we're ending in Puerto Rico this
yeah.
season.
Even the Cayman Islands, I think, are down in that area.
Oh yeah, no,
and,
there's tons.
and they're still being like dug out today.
There's cave systems are everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you were, let's say, a organized group with unlimited funding, let's say roughly $450 million every couple of years,
Which ain't
plus
nothing.
big pockets. I'm not saying anything with any in particular group. Let's say you were, and you had pumped air, fresh water, electricity, and building supplies down to these cavern systems.
Yeah.
You could build whatever you wanted down there.
Oh yeah. I mean, you ever seen the game Subnautica? If that ain't soft disclosure,
It's not.
it's you don't know.
I do know, actually.
Maybe they got these ideas.
So what do you
from
think about all this stuff with the
real
military
things.
base?
I mean, if you got power down there, I mean, and we got the ships, the vessels to get down there, which I believe we do.
It's not that deep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're not talking Titanic depth. We're talking like half,
Yeah.
if not a third.
Mhm.
Like the most military, like the 6,000 feet, most military submarines can operate at fine.
Right. Yeah.
So we're not like, and most of these caves are much shallower than that.
I mean, if there's space and we have the means to be there, we're probably going to be there, especially having a military base hovering right over it.
Was there anything happening in the 60s with Cuba?
I'm pretty sure that's when they tried to stage the Bay of Pigs invasion, and that's when
Wouldn't
JFK was like, no.
it be kind of beneficial to put a government base underneath that island
Oh, I suppose.
in case like they actually had the nukes and they were waving them at us?
Yeah.
And then, like, literally out of all these little holes, like, U.S. military just pops up out of, like, yeah, you're not doing this.
Right. And they could blame it on
Imagine
like,
if you were
aliens.
Castro and you were, like, getting ready to launch the nuke, and literally all these little holes on your island, U.S. Army guys just start pouring
Popping
out of.
Yeah. Or just like little drone ships come flying out
Well,
of
this
them.
was keep in the 60s.
We still had it. We could blame it on aliens and they would believe it. They would no idea.
Drones?
Why not?
I don't think we had drones in the 60s.
Why not?
I just don't think.
But what?
You say statements all the time you have no basis on.
But what? For what reason? Why would we not have that technology? I mean,
I just don't think we developed it yet. Like, the same reason we didn't have...
The military is like, what is it, 60 to 100 years advanced?
No.
200 years advanced technology?
Yeah. 20 to 30.
I think it's 60.
I don't think it's 60.
And that's if that's the case, I mean, there's drones. Yeah, easy.
I think it's 30, or it was 30, and I think it gets smaller because of how fast technology advances anyways now.
I think technology is advancing so fast because we already got it, and they're trying to roll it out to control us faster.
Dead internet theory.
That's okay.
That'll be later, season 4.
Yeah, let's back on task.
So what do you think about this government base, though?
Oh, 100% believe it. I believe
I mean,
it.
it's a real government base, but
Yeah.
what do you think it's doing? Like,
I
what do you think?
believe we're probably down in those holes. We're probably down.
And I know I'm not a military guy, and I don't know much about submarines and stuff like that. So if anybody, it's a listener, has more information for this topic,
Yeah.
specifically, let us know.
Comment and
Unless it's
inform
stuff
us.
we're not allowed to know, then don't tell us.
No, you can tell us.
No, do not tell me. I'll give you Jay's phone number.
No, don't do that. But you can send it to our email, and then I'll read
No,
it.
don't send it to the email. I will. If you just say you have government secrets, and I will give you Jay's phone number. You talk to him directly.
Send it to me email, and then I'll read it out loud on the show. That's all good. All anonymous. We're an outlet for truth.
No,
So
that's okay. We'll take our shill check.
I'm a vessel.
I'll
of
take
truth.
some of that black budget.
I'm a vessel of truth. I just have to. If they come to me, we have to spread the message.
All right. Is that it for government base?
It's real. We're down there. We're down there doing weird stuff.
But what do you think? Do you think this has anything related with the UFOs, like in the sea monsters and the disappearances? How about the disappearances?
Yeah, I think it all factors in.
Do you think though the base was built? So keep in mind the disappearances go all the way back. You know, we were talking about UFOs seen in the 1400s.
Right. Yeah. No, I think we built after. I think
Do you think this is like a labs to study the phenomena?
it's kind of like a what's the Uinta Basin, like where we got
Yeah. Well,
It's-
we talk about this all the time that they build government bases on top of anomalous areas on
weird
purpose
Yeah, exactly.
to study them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think this is something like that. Like they knew this is a spot, and they're taking advantage of whatever is naturally going on there, and whatever they're experimenting or testing or I don't know, recording, all that stuff. I'm sure that's why that government base is specifically in that location.
Do you think they're trying to suppress the phenomena, or do you think they're just making it angry by being there?
I don't think they can suppress. That's just in my opinion. But I bet you they're trying to figure out how it works so they can, engineer their own sort of phenomena creating devices or experiments, or just being able to control the phenomena or use the phenomena in some way or another. That would be my guess is why they're doing it. Like use it to create weather machines. Who knows?
Interesting. Now, we covered it earlier. We're going to go back to the electric fog.
Okay, yes.
Do you have any thoughts before I read my little blurbs?
Well, I just thought of it as one of two things: an organic being that just kind of lives in this area, that feeds off whatever energy is in this area. It just kind of, that's how it lived, and it's lived here for, who knows, like countless generations and years. I mean, and maybe it's just developed. I mean, it could be a creature that lives thousands of years for all we know, and it's just this particular area is the perfect environment for it to thrive. And it might just be living off like the electrical, electromagnetic anomalies in this area that it produces naturally. So it could just be a being that's feeding off it. This is its home turf, and it just envelops organic matter carnivorously, like you said earlier, and chewing them up. I don't know.
So that's a theory. There's also Bruce. He did all this research. I don't think that, like I said earlier, I don't think that book ever got published, which makes you think.
He took the check.
Or he wasn't allowed.
Well, right, yeah.
He may have, because he survived the triangle. Is he going to really test the powers to be that say you're not allowed to do stuff?
I guess probably not.
Yeah, I've already survived one pretty much guaranteed death sentence.
Yeah.
I'm probably used up all my luck.
Yeah.
But no, so there's, like I said, this green fog, this green-black fog. It's hard to, it's been described as really dark green, light green, black. So Bruce, this tunnel forms and he gets out, and other people have seen this tunnel form from the outside on different accounts. And like this stuff, and then the cloud that ate the lady.
Right, yeah.
What was her name? Harley?
The one flying over the Tusk Islands.
The Tusk Islands.
Yeah.
So there's like several things with this fog. Like you just said, is this fog almost like an entity? As in, it may not be intelligent. It may just be a thing that lives.
Right.
It may just be like any other animal. Who knows? It may live in the caves underneath the island. And for all we know, it could be the same thing as a Lushka in its powdered form. Like a bunch of little...
powdered form.
And it could be stuff like... You ever heard of sea piranhas?
Sea piranhas?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of piranhas.
They're little isopods.
Okay.
And they live in like tidal pools and stuff like that. And the second anything alive stops moving, they start ripping it apart.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
Yep.
yeah. Atmospheric sea piranhas.
Or they live in the ocean and they just fly up to grab you, or they come onto the boat and eat you. And they look like a green fog because they're little isopod bugs.
Yeah. But you can't rule that out. Why not?
No, so this green fog, like with Bruce's encounter, I keep going back to that because it's the best one.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure Harley's would have been better if she survived.
If she was able to tell it, yeah.
But people disappear in this fog. The fog has ships in it. This fog, to me, seems more like a shadow person thing. To where it's just the representation of the phenomena. I don't think personally that I go back and forth. I don't think it's alive. I don't think it's the actual phenomena. I think it's whatever's happening, whether you're interdimensionally shifting, the doors are opening.
I was saying it's the
what
doorway.
It's your brain rationalizing what it's seeing.
Yeah.
It can't. You can't see all the wavelengths it's producing. You can't see. So your brain's like trying to tell you like there's something happening. And that's why these lights are appearing that aren't lights. They're hard to explain. These fireballs of plasma are being shot across the sky.
Right, yeah. Well, I also wonder, too, if the same phenomena happened not in the like it just happened on ground level or even underwater, if it would appear the same way, as a cloud or if it would gather, like, water and make, like, a tube with electricity flying. You know what I mean?
I don't know. So, like, the Lushkas, most of the time, like, has been described as, like, a big black shape under the boat. The same as, we didn't cover this, but the Black Devil, which is a big shark, like old Hitler, that has been seen as like a black cloud under ships and stuff like that. I don't know. It could be.
Yeah,
it could be its whole like a whole phenomena. Like it's actually this cloud itself.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like what was that? Lost.
Oh, okay.
Lost had the fog monster that ate people. That sounded like a machine.
Soft disclosure. Whoa, that was loud. That was the sound of that monster.
Jay getting shot.
Yeah.
New Jay just came in.
Replacement.
But I don't know. It's just this new. It's always there. The green fog is always there.
Yeah,
it's
reoccurring. It's like a staple down there. It's a resident.
That's pretty much all I had for the green fog. It's just something I wanted to revisit.
I mean, but yeah, it could be actual organic living creature, and we talked about before. It could be like electric that lives on the electric. What do we say? You mentioned it, but in other episodes.
The electromagnetic sphere.
Yeah, like creatures living in the electromagnetic sphere. Like they just might be creatures that live there that we just cannot perceive or understand.
That's all we can perceive of it. And
it's just this.
Then why would it be eating flesh?
I mean, we don't know what it requires. I guess for fuel or energy. I don't know. There may just be. Well, I mean, if we're electric beings, right? We got energy and electricity running through us. Maybe just eating that flesh, it's absorbing that energy and feeding itself, and then spits it out in a bundle of bones, or squeezes, rains blood.
All right. So the last thing for this episode, and then the next episode will be the finale, where we talk about what's causing. And remember, guys, I've cracked the case. I know what it is.
You keep hinting at it, but
I know.
We'll see.
I just know.
We'll see. I'm gonna tear your theory apart one by one.
No, you won't. You'll probably agree with me. The theory. All right. So let's talk about Atlantis.
Okay.
Or some other ancient aquatic, like what is it, Lemuria? There's all these.
Yeah. Right. An ancient civilization.
You've probably heard of the mythical lost city of Atlantis. It was an ancient, highly advanced civilization that allegedly sank into the sea a very long time ago.
Right.
I'm trying to be George Takei. Is that how you say it? I can't do his. This is by Shauna Peering, this article. You likely also have heard of the Bermuda Triangle, the area in the Atlantic Ocean off the southwest coast or southeast coast of Florida, where airplanes and ships are said to have vanished with no explanation. Such mysteries have fueled the imaginations and theories for generations. Well, hang on for this tinfoil hat theory, because you might be a connection here. National Geographic elaborates with the philosopher Plato was first to tell the story of Atlantis in 360 BC. Plato claimed that Atlantis had existed approximately 9,000 years ago or so before his time, and that the legend had gotten passed down via oral tradition of poets, priests, among others. According to Plato, the founders were half god, half mortals. They built a utopia naval power based on a series of verdant, concretical islands rich with precious metals and all kinds of wildlife. The islands were said to center around Atlantis' beloved capital city. As with most civilizations that contain humans, Atlantis citizens once impeccable moral code developed tremendously with their power grew. The Greek gods who had founded it in the first place had gotten so fed up with the inhabitants reality show level of behavior, they canceled the whole civilization by consuming it with earthquakes and fire. So great that the island sank into the ocean in a day and a night.
Hmm.
But where exactly was Atlantis located? The depths of whom, you ask? Via the article in history.com, writer Ignatius Donnelly claimed that in 1882 book, Atlantis, it was in the Atlantic Ocean, just before the entrance to the Straits of Gibraltar. In a 1958 book, Charles Hagengood claimed that it was actually in Antarctica. Another theory poses that the Atlantis was possibly in the Black Sea. There are many, many others for hours rabbit hole to go down. But a whole my beer award for Atlantean theories goes to Charles Berlitz, whose paranormal-based writings in the 1970s agreed with some earlier theories that Atlantis was in the Atlantic Ocean, but Berlitz claimed that it was lost or was located just off the Bermudas. Again, depending on who you ask, the Bermudas are either not the point of the Bermuda, or the Bermudas are either not part of the Bermuda Triangle, or sorry, the Bahamas, not the Bermuda, the
Gotcha.
Bahamas,
Okay.
are not part of the Bermuda Triangle, or the Triangle's borders wildly differ depending on who you ask. Berlitz claimed that the Atlanteans had also been down by alleged ocean, or taken down by alleged ocean vortex. So that's basically it. That some people claim that Atlantis is in the Bermuda Triangle,
Okay.
and that it was sunken down. So like we talked about, there's this whole big chunk in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle that's a giant oceanic shelf.
Okay.
So let's say this giant island was in the middle on the shelf, and the shelf fell.
Right.
It has happened. It happened off the coast of Ireland, and what was it, Doggerland?
Doggerland. Yeah.
Doggerland.
Either fell or the ocean rose above it.
I
and
think the
sunk
whole
it,
shelf fell.
like slipped off
Like
the edge.
literally,
Of
the shelf collapsed, and like you said, a day and a night, it could just
oh yeah.
everything would be gone.
Oh yeah.
And for the guys that are now on the new coastline, you look out to where there used to be hundreds of miles of land, and you look out and there's
Just
no
water.
It's just ocean now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God hated them.
That would be the easiest explanation. And with all this, we don't. I believe that Atlantis did exist, whether or not what Atlantis actually was. And when they say advanced, civilization,
They had indoor plumbing.
I mean, it could mean
That's always my big word thing with the advanced. When everybody says
Yeah.
advanced civilization, like, no, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Explain.
It's hard to say what you mean. And are we advanced now? Sure, but they could have been advanced in way other ways that
Sure.
way more than we even are. That would dwarf what we're doing now. It's just hard to explain because I don't know. It's hard to wrap. There's so many factors that go into being advanced. But then I just believe that Atlantis did, or the idea of an ancient civilization did exist, and probably did sink into the ocean. But for what means, it's hard to say. But or sank, or got destroyed. Either way, it's gone. It's all of its remnants are gone because the Earth will reclaim everything. I don't care how advanced anything is. The moment that we're not here, the Earth will immediately begin reclaiming everything, and you won't even have a sign of what was even there unless it's made of natural, like Earth material. Like the only thing I think that survived just about everything is the stones and stuff we find from like remnants of buildings or whatnot. So if we can get under the ocean and see what's remnants could still be there after, who knows, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, I don't know. I don't think anyone alive today truly knows unless you got access to ancient documents or, I don't know, some psychic that can traverse time and space and tell you the answers or show you the maybe you go through one of these black cloud portals and you see
I just think
Atlantis.
I think Atlantis was the thought of Atlantis probably existed because all these cultures talk about this ancient ocean-faring race that was advanced for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they had flying cars or nothing like that.
It's hard
I
saying.
think they were extremely well navigators.
Yeah.
I think they were advanced in that aspect, that they took control of the whole oceans, this kind of global race.
And well, let's just say we know that Earth has its own natural energy, right? And we move through I'd say burning of fossil, combustion. That's basically our biggest form of locomotion or transportation when we're moving vast distances, or whether it's across land or sea or air, we're burning stuff. I'm just imagining if we went down a different path or a different timeline, that we know these natural energies occur, and if we were able to tap into them, which I think we can. In my mind, there's no reason that civilization prior to us was able to do that. And, I think anything that's possible now was definitely possible anytime in the past because everything's still here to do it. The only difference now is we use technology to gain these things or, to make them happen. But, even at the end of the day, our technology is just cheap plastic crap with circuit boards and whatnot. Now it is, yeah. But that's to us is so advanced. I just think everything was possible before too. So if it was an advanced civilization that had access or was smart enough, and maybe they used their resources better and it wasn't all like based off greed or, making money. If it was actually just to help live life here on Earth and advance everybody's, what am I trying to say? Version of life, or just elevated everybody, and it wasn't focused on monetary gain or whatever we're focused on now. Just say like a former lifetime. I don't know. Everyone was more focused on advancing themselves, like personally, and their brothers or like neighbors around them. And if the world just functioned on that alone, the pathway. If we did that from our origins, from our written history, our pathway would be so much different than where we are now. And I don't know. So it's just, I don't even know kind of where this rambling rant is going to. And just saying, like, this stuff I think is possible. We just don't have any answers or explanations to talk about it or to put in the frame of mind and compare it to our modern day experience. I just think all this stuff is 100% possible. You can't rule it out. And I think it did exist. And so to say, like, now to tie this in with the Bermuda Triangle, if Atlantis was in that area and let's say they did have some, I don't know, big energy like accumulation devices or
crystalline engines,
just something like that. If there's any remnant that just left over, and if it's a natural occurring phenomena, there's no reason why like these natural occurring weird things that are happening could be a remnant from what Atlantis was.
That's perfect. That is actually perfect.
That's what we're getting to.
Because that's going to be our segue into the next and final installment of our season finale.
Ooh.
So all I will say is, let's say Atlantis was super advanced. I mean like bordering space advanced.
Okay.
Like getting ready to have ships going out and a whole different like type of engine system like we were just saying.
Proton drives.
Let's say that they did whatever, they made God mad, or the ocean collapsed around them, or some kind of giant planetary thing happened.
Yeah.
Let's say that they disappeared as a race, but some of their technology survived. So if Atlantis is in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, what if some kind of shield system or defense system got left on? All these thousands of years later, and every once in a while, it defends itself over what it thinks is a threat.
Aha. Bum, bum, bum.
Or if you watch the movie Atlantis, there's a giant mechanized Leviathan.
Bum, bum, bum.
So in our next episode, it'll be the conclusion. All of what everybody thinks is causing it, and then at the very end, I'll tell you what's really causing it. I have been the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I've been the infamous J.
And we'll catch you next time with the season finale. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/CryptidsOfTheCorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.